Hello, everyone. I'm Alvin King, host of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. Saladin, Vash, and I thank you for inviting us into your home every Friday evening for laughs and live chit chat.
Tonight, we're going to share with you one of our favorite episodes from this season. And we'll be back bringing you new shows with exciting topics and very special guests before you know it. In fact, we're working on them right now.
Follow us on all social media to make sure you don't miss any of our special content or announcements for our next live broadcast. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and your favorite podcast platform. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for watching He Said,
He said,
He said.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Happy Friday to you. It is another time for He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm Alvin King. It is Friday, the 21st of May. Can you all believe that summer is actually knocking at our door? I can, okay? And everybody's taking off their masks and more and more people are getting vaccinated, but I don't know if I'm ready to let my guards down. But anyway, welcome to another episode of He Said, He Said, He Said. We are excited about this show tonight. We are talking about the evolution of Black men's hair, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. And don't be all caught up in three bald men talking about hair, because believe it or not, we did have hair at some point in our lives. But tonight, it is all about the evolution of Black men's hair. I hope you guys are doing well. But let me tell you a couple of things about our conversation tonight. Again, we're going to take a look at Black men's hair and the focus on the evolution of Black men or Black males taking center stage for how we maintain our hair to express ourselves creatively, professionally, independently, and even sexually at some point, you know. I myself, a Black man with a deep interest in the evolution and current state of affairs of Black men in the mainstream, we would like to dedicate He Said, He Said, He Said, He Said tonight to this issue of Black men's hair, as I believe it is a topic that's often neglected and definitely in need of a discussion. And it actually is consumed with double standards and stereotypes. But before we get into the show itself, let me go ahead and bring in our co-hosts for this evening, Mr. Vash Bodie and Mr. Saladin Deir. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, y'all.
How you
Great.
doing?
How are you guys?
I'm doing well. It's been a week. Hey, Vash.
Hey, Saladin. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I'm excited to tell my hair story tonight.
We will have a lot of hair stories that we're going to tell tonight. But before we get into it, I have a disclaimer that I want to tell everyone about. We're not here to offend anybody about our conversation tonight and their hair. Quite frankly, we think wear your hair any way that you want. But we will be talking about certain styles. And none of us are hairstylists or cosmetologists. At least I don't think we are. And so, again, we're just here to have a conversation about the evolution of Black men's hair. And we hope that our conversation tonight will open up a dialogue with some of you about this topic somewhere down the road. But the guys tonight have decided that let me back up. As you can see, Jacques is not with us tonight. Jacques is in California and had a previous engagement. And so Saladin is filling in for Jacques tonight. So again, thank you, Saladin, for doing that. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. But we have something for you guys tonight. Again, I mentioned earlier that we have, how can three bald men talk about hair? But we want to show you some of the evolution of our hair or at least coming into it or putting it on or however you want to look at it. So join us for this journey. So,
Yes.
So we're going to start with Jacques.
Yes. Yes. I'm living for that background.
Okay.
I took the exact same school picture. There's a post, and you're supposed to look like you're out in the, like Little House on the Prairie. I love that
Exactly.
picture.
Out in the wilderness.
It looks just
the
like
afro, he had to pat that down. You pick it out, you pat it down. I see it. I love it. I live it.
But he's giving Mr. Teen Black America in this photo. I live.
Absolutely.
Well, hold on. So what do we have next for him? Okay, that's him. But look at the hair. We're focusing on the hair. You know, he's giving a little, what is it? Flat top. What do you call that side?
Fade on the side.
Fade on the side. Okay. All right, we got that. All right. And now the hairline is doing what? Okay.
Count Dracula like me.
Okay, given that. Okay. But that's a distinguished look for him.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of took him into that. And this is Jacques as we know of him today.
Yes.
Okay.
So then my question is, well, I'm not going to say nothing.
He is not here to defend himself. So don't say anything. Okay, don't say anything.
I think it's a great photo. He has a beautiful texture of hair. The hairline looks revitalized. I love it.
It did look like it. It does look revitalized. Okay, but I like that term. So next is Mr. Saladin. All right.
Look at baby V. But you can look at the hairline though. You can already see the Count Dracula with the Eddie Munster.
But you were rocking the baby hair as a baby.
I was rocking the baby hair. I think I'm just a few months old here, so
Wow.
Cutie pie.
It looks like a lace front, an early lace front. But I like it. Okay, next. Okay, what we got next? Now, which are you, the younger or the older?
Oh, come on now. Don't you even do it. I'm the younger one.
The younger one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. I see you coming into your locks. Okay. All right.
And the hairline, but look, notice the hairline. The hairline is still a little, already at that age, it's a little, something's off with the hairline, but.
Something's off. You say
something's off with the hairline.
Your words next. Okay.
Yes.
Your word. Okay.
So yeah, this is me. I think I'm in Zimbabwe here. Had a little Caesar. I'm rocking my little Eddie Munster. But again, you can see the Count Blackula hairline
coming into play. Okay. All
You're
right.
too funny.
Okay, and then you cut it down a little bit.
Well, cut it down. I have a nice lineup. I had them take off the Eddie Munster, so I have a nice square hairline. This is probably the best my hair has ever looked in my entire life.
It is cute. I got to give you points for that. It is cute.
Accentuates the eyes and the smile and the jawline. It's giving you angles. It's perfect. I love it.
Oh,
who is this?
High
with
top
you?
fade. That's my brother,
right.
My second brother, Steven. High top fade. Look at us, rock. This was probably 1989 or 1990 in Chicago.
A little kid in play.
Yeah,
exactly.
Y'all both got it. Yes, giving it.
Oh,
all right.
Curls.
Come on, let's talk about texturizers.
Texturizers. Yes.
This is in New York City at a barbershop in the Village. I had him cut my hair, and I was like, "Would you happen to have an S curl or some sort of texturizer?" And he was like, "Absolutely." And he texturized my hair right there in the chair, and you couldn't tell me anything. And to be honest with you guys, I would give my left leg to have that head of hair right now.
Have that to look like that.
With the texturizer or just the hair?
Your hair confidence.
Either or.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because we're going to touch on that a little bit later. I want to see.
And of course, this is the fabulous Saladin Deir as you are today. Okay.
Getting it.
Skin so soft.
With the inability, let's note, with the inability to grow a full head of hair. Yes.
Right on. I hear
you.
I
still see a little hairline though. You can have a shadow. I see it. Okay, but I'll let you tell it.
With the circle of death.
Okay. All right. And so next week.
This is me taking you back.
Vash.
Taking you back to the day. So I kind of always had a little bit of a small afro. If I grew my hair out too big or blew it out too much, my dad would be like, "Oh, your hair is long," and he would go get it cut. So my hair could have been 2 feet long there, but I packed it down. But you can see the hairline already kind of giving you, like I was giving you big forehead.
Okay.
So next picture shows me a little bit older at a wedding. Hairline has gone back a little bit further.
Just a little bit
further. Yeah, and it got to the
still
point
giving beautiful face. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was sitting in a barber chair once. I got my hair cut, and this woman was sitting outside, in the waiting room, and she was like, "Why did you do that to that man's hairline?" And the guy was like, "That's where his hairline is." And I thought at that point, I need to make a change. So the next picture is the evolution, and I just really went on and acknowledged it. I'm like, "Let's go bald."
There you go.
What it is. But do not sleep. I like hair, and I will rock some. Next picture, I will give you this.
All right.
Which was for it was a 1960s meets Mad Men cocktail party, and I was living for it. So I will give you this. I will also give you this.
Okay. All right. Yes.
I believe. Hey, hair is hair. Do with it what you want. I will also give you a little bit of this.
Some Bruno Mars.
I can't even stand myself in this picture. Yeah.
It
Wow.
doesn't even look like you. It's good lace front. I like it. Okay. Good lace front. Okay.
Yes.
Whoever did that, I hope you tip them well, because that looks natural.
That looks natural. Yeah.
That's the goal. I mean, if you're going to rock some hair, it should look like it's coming out of your head. I have also done this.
All right. Yes.
And just for a brief moment, I did this last one. Yeah. I didn't go out.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Is this? Wait a minute.
I'm giving you founding father realness. Founding father.
Is it founding father or the mother from that horror film with not Anthony Hopkins? Yeah, it's a hotel.
Yeah. You know what? You can't see my hands. I could have a knife, and someone could be in the shower.
Well,
so
the Bates, right?
Yes, the Bates Hotel. Wow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so this is where my journey began, ladies and gentlemen, and don't judge me. Okay, that's me over on the right with my niece and my little brother and my niece and nephew, and I'm the guy with the cornrows. So believe it or not, I had cornrows that used to come down to the back of my neck. So go on to the next picture, because this was like 10th grade. This right here, well, I'm sorry, that was the 8th grade. This is the 10th grade for me, ladies and gentlemen. So I was just like, I came from.
Is this a Woolworth ad?
How about that? I came from a family of brothers that love to wear clothes. So I learned early how to be stylish to a certain degree. Next picture. This picture here is, I was in a talent show at my high school, and the people who were standing behind me, we were actually the group Chic. And so, Silver, did you hear that somewhere? Yeah. And so, this was at a talent show. But as you can see, I had went from a big afro to a mini afro. All right. So next,
love it.
This right here is my high school picture, and this was me in my glory when I figured, okay, this is Alvin becoming Alvin right before my very eyes. I knew who I was in this picture. So next picture, ladies and gentlemen. This picture is the 70s. And I picked this picture because...
Wait, which one are you?
Hey, thank you. I'm glad you said that, because this was, I'm in a picture with my partner of 15 years, and I was actually 19 years old. That was 1978.
Wow.
Yes. And my body was just a little bit ridiculous. I would love to have that body back. Next picture. This is me getting ready for photo shoot and fashion shows. Okay. This was the 80s.
Wow.
And I had my little flat top. Thought I was doing that. Next picture. Now this picture here is Halloween. I love Halloween. So if I can find hair anywhere, I'm the guy with the red hair, okay? And when you tell me to do something for Halloween, ladies and gentlemen, everybody knows I go 101 degrees, judging by this next picture. as you can see. Okay.
All right. Look, hey.
Who is that lady?
Who's that girl?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, transition is abound. So this picture actually was an ad that bought my house. This is when I shaved all my head off and thought, this is Alvin becoming. And
this
so
is Sparta.
This is Sparta, but this picture gave me the first down payment on my house. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for our trip down hair evolution lane. Okay, thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Vash. Thank you, Saladin, for sharing all that. Oh, wait a minute. Who said? Alma said that's her favorite red sweater. Get out of here. Get out of here. Alma probably remember that sweater. Okay. She probably does. And there's a story behind that. Hey, George. Hey, Derwin. Okay, guys, look, we're gonna start our show. You guys ready to take them through this evolution? Because it is, and again, ladies and gentlemen, we're touching on some things. We could spend 2 hours talking about the evolution of men's hair. So we kind of packed it into 35 minutes to give you an idea of what we've been working with. So I'm going to start where it began, and that is slavery. Black men in the United States trace their lineage to sub-Saharan Africa, most remarkably, western coast of Africa in what today makes Togo, the Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Nigeria, and Angola. The hair type of the people from this era of Africa is known as kinky hair, which is a word used in current day America for denoting extremely curly hair that forms tiny coils as it grows out. Both genders of African American Black men and women, but we're talking about men tonight, typically grow kinky hair just as the peoples of West African group. Until mass deportation of Black Africans to Americans, males would wear their hair long in what is argued as a social engineering process. The longer the hair in a male, the more wisdom and wiser he was assumed to be. Because curly, kinky hair takes many years to manifest a long length. Hair length was thus often used to gauge a tribesman's life experience and social position within their tribe. Once Black slaves were taken to the Americas, these slaves were denied from participating in traditions and regional African folklore. Likewise, individuals from different tribes and regions, though, would be mixed around as to further minimize the chances of the slaves socializing and potentially revolting. But we all know the latter happened, and there were many, there were many revolts, especially in the Caribbean regions. But as part of being denied from practicing tribal traditions, Black men were mandated to keep their hair short, which was usually trimmed by either the slave owner himself or a slave who had earned a wider amount of freedom within the slave property. Black men would have their kinks trimmed very short so that their hair would not become unsanitary and or limit the slave's ability to maximize their work output. Throughout slavery, though, Black men kept the same shortcut profile, and no amount of natural African hairstyles were allowed, such as dreadlocks, hairstyles, or twist hairstyles, which were popular back in the regions where the slaves had been taken from. I just wanted to say, as I researched and went through all that piece just to share with all of you, one of the things that came out of that, as you look at stories and you look at slave owners who had slaves living in their house, they were called Feel the N-word, right? Is that, they were called Feel the N-word. I think about how they would look in pictures and stuff as I look at movies and everything. And so it just made me think about some of the images that I had in my head, and some of the slaves that lived in the houses, their hair was better or, kept different than the slaves that were out in the field. I never thought about it being because the better looking the hair on the slave made them look or be or considered to be more intelligent. And that was a threat. I didn't think about that. So that was very interesting for me as I talked about that piece of of the evolution. So and there's more about that, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about some more of that when we get into what y'all said. And before Vash begins to talk about the evolution of men hairstyles during the early 20th century and the civil rights movement, we have a little exercise for everybody who's watching tonight. Hey, Keith. Hey, Blue. Hey, George. Hey, Alma. For our Black Excellence tonight, we want you to tell us what famous person you feel had the most hair evolution that you could ever think of. This person has done every hairstyle that you can name and made it look amazing and even set trends. So I want you all to think about that. Keep it for what y'all said, because before we do Black Excellence, we want to hear from y'all and hear about who you think that person is. So without further ado, I'm gonna give it over to Vash to talk about the evolution of the 20th century.
Well, definitely, because as Blacks were slowly being integrated into mainstream society, still considered second-class citizens, Black men started to emulate the hairstyles of the white men in order to improve their social status. So the hair relaxer, a chemical product that straightened the hair, was used by many Black men to soften their kinks and to get their hair to lay flat. We've all heard fried, dyed, and laid to the side. Well, that was it. Naturally kinky hair wants to remain upright, regardless of how much you manipulate it and try to transform it. So the mere act of combing the hair and getting some slick to the hair helped Black men to earn a higher degree of respect from white men, and in some cases made Black men feel superior to other Black men. This popularity of Black men relaxing their hair continued until the early 1960s. Hair relaxing would then regain its popularity again in the 1980s. So let's talk about Black men and their hair during the civil rights movement. It was in the early 1960s, when the civil rights movement started, that African Americans were socially free to express their kinky, curly hair as they wished. Because kinky hair stands straight up, even at lengths of up to 1 foot, the afro became the hairstyle of Black pride and Black power. By the early 1970s, it is estimated that over 2/3 of Black men had an afro hairstyle in the United States of America. The civil rights movement coincided with the hippie era, which too encouraged long hair so as to defy the establishment. The 1970s was the decade of big hair, so the afro hairstyle became the most popular hairstyle among Black men and women in the United States. Unlike the very soft hairstyles, short hairstyles, these haircuts Black men wore had to endure not only a couple of decades, unlike those very short hairstyles and haircuts Black men had to endure only a couple of decades earlier, Black men were now free to choose their hairstyle, and most of them swung to the extreme of choosing hairstyles that were big in nature and somewhat menacing and defying. Mm-hmm. That's how I remember the afro. The afro was something that you wore to make sure that people saw you. It was a silhouette that when you walked into a room, people noticed. And I remember sitting on stoops where people would sort of rake out your hair to just try to get the afro as big as it could possibly be. It was a good time for Black hair.
I wonder if did Black hair, did the afro make people walk with like a pimp? I don't know. I can't describe that walk. But it was like a pimp. And when I think about the afro, and I mean, there are movies like, what do you call it? With the Bee Gees and all that stuff, Saturday Night Fever. Mm-hmm. And I know that's coming from the 70s into that era. I just thought afros made people walk with confidence for some reason. I don't know what that.
You had to, because if you leaned to the front to bow your head, your afro came down too far and it blocked your vision. You had to stand back and let it blow in the wind.
Okay. I also think of afros as a sign of protest. especially during the civil rights movement, because for so long, Black men were, we were told how we were supposed to present and what we were supposed to look like. And then, as Vash referenced just a few moments ago, we started to conk or perm our hair so that we would be more respected by white men in white society. So I think of the Afro as a sign of protest, because finally it was a time when we took control over our hair and how we presented ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And during that era that Vash just spoke of, there was a style of hair called the conk.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the conk. And
Mm-hmm.
the conk was a very expensive hairstyle for men that I think that is coming back now, and we're going to talk about that a little later. I don't think that they have termed it the conk, but the conk was that thing that gave men that rise up in their head on and it was all what do you call it?
A relaxer, wasn't it?
It was relaxer.
It was a relaxer, yeah.
But the conk, what was the conk? What was that?
And I think the conk was basically just everything or anything that was a straightened hairstyle. Like I would say that James Brown wore a conk. I mean, anybody, all of them.
Malcolm X wore a conk.
For a minute. Yep.
Yeah.
Malcolm X wore a conk as well?
Yeah.
For a minute.
Before, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
When he went to prison, his hair was conked.
I didn't know that. Okay.
It's a verb now too. It's conked.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay. So Saladin is going to take us is going to talk about the evolution of men's hair from the disco era into the pop era.
Yeah. Thanks, Alvin. So as we all know, a hairstyle is just as important as the clothes we wear. A hairstyle is someone's personal statement. It's what distinguishes the uniqueness of our style, of one's own persona. The 1990s saw men's hair become shorter and dyed. Many of us modeled our hairstyles after our favorite entertainers, including rappers, musicians, and actors. Cornrows, locks or dreadlocks, crew cuts, Caesars, fades, and texturized looks became extremely popular. Cornrows are regarded as a traditional African hairstyle. However, with the rise of hip hop culture in the 90s, the popularity of cornrows became ubiquitous throughout the world. In fact, cornrows were actually banned in schools in the UK as the popular style became associated with gang membership in the 2010s. People with thick and curly hair opted for this style because it was much more manageable for them. People just needed to keep their hair clean and nicely moisturized to maintain the cornrows. Cornrows are still and were then a very popular style for many basketball and football players. A widely popular hairstyle of the 70s and 80s was actually reintroduced in the 90s by rappers like Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and NWA. So y'all know where I'm going with this, right? Yes, the infamous Jerry curl, yes, which had an immense fan base throughout the African diaspora, particularly America, England, and Canada. Pop sensations like Michael Jackson rocked a Jerry curl for years, and I wanted to look just like him. Wow. The Jerry curl hairstyle gave a glossy and loosely curled look. However, the gels and oils required to maintain the hair was relatively expensive. And sometimes it could ruin people's furniture during family parties and other visits. Due to films like Coming to America, the style became a bit of a joke and eventually faded out. Now, there was a certain point in the early 80s, my mom had a Jerry curl, my sister had a Jerry curl, my brother had a Jerry curl, and most of my uncles and aunts had Jerry curls. My mother refused to let me get a Jerry curl. And there were other kids my age. I was maybe around somewhere between 6 and 8. So there were plenty of kids my age who had Jerry curls. My mother, she must have knew that if she had got me a Jerry curl, I would have been activated and flipping all day long. All day. So I never had a Jerry curl. And if it came back, if I could grow hair, I would have a Jerry curl for at least 6 months.
Wow.
Okay, the next style that I'm going to talk about is one of my all-time favorite hairstyles. And if I could grow hair now, I would definitely have one. And when I see the kids with them now, because they have come back to a certain degree, I get very excited and fall into a beautiful nostalgia of my childhood. And I'm talking about the flat top haircut, y'all, or the high top fade.
Yes.
It's a style in which the sides are kept very short and the hair on top of the head is long. It was symbolized as the hip hop and urban contemporary hairstyle in the late 1980s and the early 1990s. I think every boy in my junior high school had a high top fade, and boys would do different things. You would either have a high top fade. I rocked a Gumby in 8th grade. Some guys would sort of have this sort of like stepped high top fade. So the fade would, part of it would be short and then it would be longer on one side.
Yes.
We would also go into the bathroom and we'd mix peroxide and Kool-Aid to dye our hair. And we make these geometric patterns on our high top fades. It was everything. I loved it. So the high top fade became a symbol of rap culture with rappers like Kid and Play, Kwame, and Big Daddy Kane, who adorned this hairstyle, and they wore it all over the world. Even Vanilla Ice, a white rapper of the early 1990s, rocked the high top fade, so they were quite popular. The flat top hairstyle also helped to describe the New Jack Swing movements in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Yeah. Another one of my favorites, and it was featured in one of the photos that we showed earlier, are the 360 waves, or a texturizer, which is also a very popular style worn by men where their hair is cut short in either the style of a Caesar or a very low, short fade. Brushing techniques provided an oceanic wave in the hair, or if you left a little bit more hair on the top, we again make these very curly, soft waves. This hairstyle reflects the natural roots of hair to be exposed, and as the hair grows further, wolfing can be done to achieve deeper waves in the hair. I used to live for this hairstyle. In fact, I remember in the 90s, I was performing at what was called the Regal Theater, which was owned by the Johnson family. And Mr. Johnson would come every Friday. He would come to the show and watch us. And one time he brought boxes and boxes of hair products. And I took a few home, S-Curl, some other products. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided to go home, and I had a Caesar. I decided to go home and texturize my hair. Wow. And it looked as if a cat had licked me all over my head. I mean, my hair was, it was completely laid. And for some reason, I didn't think my mother would notice. And I had the audacity to sit on the front stoop. And she pulled up, she took one look at me and she said, "You permed your hair. Get in the house." And we had a mommy dearest moment. So we had a real mommy dearest moment. I just wanted to share that with everyone. I'm here to talk about it. I survived, but that's what happened.
Wow.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we just wanted to give you actually a little bit of history on the evolution of Black men's hair and where it came from and where it's been and even where it's going. So what we wanted to have an open discussion about, and let me say, hey, Alma, hey, Bobby, hey, Sean, hey, Annette, and I'm glad you all just keep on putting your names of the people the person who you think has made the best hair moment throughout their career. We want to hear from you, because whoever gets the answer to that, no, you're not getting no car. Whoever gets the answer to that, we're gonna acknowledge you when we go to our Black Excellence. But we want to have an open discussion about a few different hairstyles that have happened in the 21st century since 2000. And three of those things, or three of those hairstyles, one is being bald. Yes. We want to talk about locks, and we want to talk about beards, because beards have just become the new hairstyle for men that have a trend. I'm sorry, it's a trend, it's a hairstyle, but it has taken over and has, in my opinion, over the last 10 years at least, it has raised a lot of conversation. So since we're all bald, I just want to talk about being bald first and some of the things that I have experienced about being bald. First, being bald, what didn't come easy for me. It was a bit traumatic, because at the time that I decided to shave all my hair off, nobody was really doing it. And Michael Jordan was my inspiration, but that's Michael Jordan. He makes a lot more money than I do, and he doesn't have to go to work every day. And I left work one day with a piece that was that would fall down here, and I would brush it back as if to hide what was already gone. And I just decided one night to shave it, and I went to work the next day. But I was so scared that people were going to judge me, and I just wouldn't be presented. And I thought I would come across as radical, even because a lot of Black men weren't shaving their hair at the time.
Wait, I have a question. So you said before you shaved your hair, there was hair that you would brush to the front?
I had
was
a
it
piece.
Permed?
No, I just let it grow. Actually, I take that back. I did perm it. I would perm it, and then I would and a lot of us you may see a lot of men who just refuse to get rid of their hair, and they just brush it back, and then a strong wind comes from the back, and all of a sudden you look like a damn peacock. You're standing there, your hair is standing up. I went through that moment. But
Okay.
and that's when I decided to shave it off. But it is not as easy to do that. I guess now it is, but I mean, at that time of my life, it wasn't easy to just shave your head and think everybody was going to accept it. You know what I'm saying? You had to be like, again, like Michael Jordan or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I grew up with Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes was bald all the time, and he was sexy and popular and famous. So the concept of being or going bald, it was the going bald that was the issue. Being bald was not the issue.
That is true.
You know, so
that is true.
Yeah, it was it was known that this was where it was going. It was a matter of just sort of embracing it and doing it.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know that and Vash, wow, I never looked at it like that. And as you said, we grew up with people, you know, like Isaac Hayes, who was, again, you know, sexy and powerful, but that was Isaac Hayes. You know what I'm saying? I never looked at it as, you know, Alvin shaving his head and it being accepted and going to work the next day. So yeah, that's just cool. Okay. Yeah. So and
the way that I found out that I was going bald was pretty traumatizing. I agree with Vash. Being bald was never a fear for me because, you know, my grandfather, I think the pattern of baldness is hereditary and we inherit it from, I haven't read statistics, but from what I understand, we inherit baldness from our mother's side, right? And so my grandfather was bald. My maternal grandfather was bald. My brother, Stephen, the one who was featured in the photos with me earlier, he started going bald at a certain point. I have another brother, Leonard, who had started to go bald. So I felt baldness was inevitable for me, but it was traumatizing how I found out that I was going bald. It was gay pride, and I was at a party in Jersey City, and there were probably 50 to 75 men there. And I was with friends who were visiting from Washington, D.C., and one of the guys, I had known him for many years at that time, and he was standing behind me, and he just like, I felt him tap the back of my head, and he went, "What's going on back there, boo?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "You're going bald." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You have a big bald spot in the back of your head."
Wow.
And I just felt like ostracized. I felt like everyone was looking at me and I was so embarrassed and I didn't know what to do. So I left the party and I literally went home and I shaved my entire head.
Wow.
Well, thank you. The next hairstyle was locks and twists for me. First of all, I always get confused when I'm talking to people who have locks or who have twists. If I'm saying it right, if I'm being politically correct when I say it. But I'm gonna go on record as saying there was a time that whenever I would see someone with locks, my initial reaction would be, "Is their hair clean?" And I know people who have locks, and I know that their hair was clean. But there was a time when I would just like look at it and go, "How could you do that? And how could you wash your hair and it be clean with locks?" And so much has happened. It has you know, in terms of maintaining your locks. And I even have a good friend who had locks all the way down to his behind when I met him, and he kept them very clean. But in the beginning, I thought that locks was something that I just thought people just did because they were lazy.
Yeah. And, I feel like, well, and I feel like some people used to get locks because they thought it was easy maintenance. And having locks is like, you have to take such care of your hair.
Yeah.
And I dated someone who had locks, and he's biracial, and he had locks when we met, and he had them up until I cut them off, and he would wash his hair and he wouldn't dry them. And so his hair, it smelled like blue cheese. And I would tell him like, hey, you have to like really take the time to dry your hair. And I just start to cut them off one by one, and we would argue. And we finally got to the point where I was like, listen, I was like, I know what you're trying to do professionally, and you're not taking good care of your hair. And I love locks. I think they're beautiful, but they have to be very well maintained, and you have to be persistent and really active about maintaining your hair. Otherwise, they can become unkempt and smelly. So I cut his off.
Well, there's a lot of people who make money out of creating locks, and we were trying to get a special guest on the show tonight. I don't want to mention their name because they did not come on the show, but this person is, in my opinion, is like the king of locks, and I know he is making a career out of it. And so over the years, I have seen how that whole style of maintaining locks and twists, if you will, it has soared and has made a lot of stylists a lot of money. But I know we're getting close to the end of this segment before we start talking to you guys, but let's talk about the beard and the power, the bearing the beard right now, because the beard has become, where it was just like at one time, oh, you have a beard, to now beards are like everything. Sometimes people look at beards and determine a man's
virility
based on the size of his beard or
sexiness, masculinity. They're tied to a lot of those things. I guess it depends on how the beard looks. I can kind of tell you, when I rock this, a little Fu Manchu, little pork choppy sideburn thing, it's very different treatment at the checkout counter than not.
All right.
I do. I notice it. It's kind of greght. It's like, I feel like Austin Powers. Do I make you pony, baby? It's groovy. I do. I like it.
Well, I like it too. I think
you have that Austin Powers wig too. Maybe try rocking the Austin Powers wig next time you go to the market, along with your beard, and you could really get it.
Let me know how that works out for you, though. Okay, please videotape that. But I on the subject.
Thanks, Alma.
on the subject of beards, though, I have to say, for guys who have found a way to maintain their beards and go to places to make sure that it's kept up and that it looks well, I really do appreciate that, because I can't stand a straggly, messy beard. I can't, and I know guys think that is like the it thing to do, but I just don't like it. And I'm glad that there are people out there that are willing to trim your beard up, no matter how long it gets, to make it look clean and even somewhat presentable. So kudos to the whole beard tribe out there. But
Alvin, one of the things that I don't struggle with baldness, but and I do have to shave, almost daily, but I actually have a full beard, and it's completely white. And that I'm struggling with, because I feel like I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have a beard, and I'm definitely not ready to have a white beard. And this is all white. My eyelashes are turning white. My eyebrows are turning white. It's like I could be Black Santa. Give me a week and I could give you Black Santa. And I'm struggling with that a little bit. I know the vanity side of me needs to sort of go away. But that's another thing too, in terms of like talking about beards. Like I'm turning completely white, and I'm not dealing with that very well.
Well, we're going to probably have to talk about that when we talk about whether to dye your hair, to deal with the grayness or whatever. But it's about that time for us to segue into what y'all said. And I have to say that y'all have been extremely, y'all have been talkative, and we love it. We love it when we get to talk to you about all kinds of things. And as Alvin said, we're going to ask you to continue to name the person who you think has had the greatest sort of hair journey, or who has been a very big hair maverick, because we want to talk about that, and we're going to talk about that in Black Excellence. But you guys said some really fun and interesting things when we were going through the history of hair. Bobby, you said that your afro was your crown, especially after a good blowout. How y'all feel about that? Right? That was. I mean, did you guys have, you had your afros. Was your afro your crown?
Oh, mine was my crown. Mine was definitely my crown. So I feel you on that, Bobby. I do. Yeah, mine was truly my crown. Yes,
definitely. And Alma pointed out the power of kinky hair. She goes, natural hair is actually double in size when it's permed. The curl is tight, so you don't get the real visual size until you take a piece of it and you actually pull it. And that is so very, very true. Let's get down to why we used to do the blowouts. Sitting on the stoop, like I said, people raking your hair, making it nice and long, so you had that big afro.
Well, now you tell me, Alma, that I'm follically challenged. Okay, so thank you very much for that. Thank you, Alma. Thank you so much. Okay.
And Bobby pointed out, Saladin, that there's a scene in Malcolm X in the movie where Malcolm X is actually in prison. I think he's getting his hair dyed, not his hair like straightened, and the chemical's in too long and it starts to burn his head.
Oh yeah, I remember that scene.
Yes.
I remember that. I remember that scene. Who is this right here? Who is this? Helen Ferguson. Who is that?
One of our watchers, and she says she likes bald guys. She was talking about us.
Thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Helen.
Thanks, Helen.
Thank you, Helen.
Yes,
I can't do nothing about it, Helen. So
I'm gonna leave the door open, Helen.
Call me.
No, wait. Someone said something on here that I saw about locks. Someone who said something about locks. I can't remember who that was.
A few people said some things about locks. Talking about, it's not just Keith said, maintaining locks can be very expensive, especially if you want them to be well kept.
True.
And someone also made a comment about it wasn't the washing that was difficult, but the drying was actually, it got on his nerves. I think that's Keith. Yeah.
That's Keith as well.
If you don't dry them properly, they hold a bad odor. Yes.
And you said like blue cheese, like they smell like.
Well, my partner at the time, his hair, he wouldn't wash it. I mean, he would wash it, but he wouldn't dry it. And it smelled like blue cheese, and it would wake me up in the middle of the night. And he would walk by me, and I'll be like, sometimes it would give me a little bit of a headache, and I just couldn't take it. And one night we were sitting around watching television, and I just snipped one. Wow. And
Wow.
Well, Rodney Bryant said
Thanks,
watching
Sean.
your hairline recede during a period when having a sharp, fresh shape up was the thing was kind of devastating. Look, I think all three of us know that. Saladin gave his story. Mine, I was going into the Catch One in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Catch, everybody knows about the Catch,
I know about
right?
the Catch, okay.
Going into the Catch One, and the security guard at the club pointed me out and was like, "Hey, what's going on up there? You think you all cute, but you losing your hair." And I thought, wow. And I think I did the same thing. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like coming into this club. And I turned and left. And it wasn't, because I also had in my family, Saladin, pattern baldness on my mother's side. So I knew it was going to happen. And I knew that it was not going to be pretty. But to just have it just be pointed out like that by someone who was supposed to be welcoming me into the club, I just didn't feel like going in there. I didn't feel like dancing. And it was shortly after that I did go. I was like, we're going with the trend and cutting off our hair. So Rodney, we feel it. We know what it's like. And, we're glad. Are you bald, Rodney? You let us know. Tell us what's going on with you.
I think Rodney is bald. He said something about he is now bald or something, or he embraces baldness.
Wow.
Who was this? What Blue said something about locks. Yeah, he said, He said, surrender to the bald head. That's right. That's right. That's right, Rodney. What did Robert Blue say? Blue Beatty say about locks.
He said his locks garnered much attention. He hated when they were able to smoke in clubs because his locks absorbed all that odor, which I know that's true. That's one of the things I don't miss about people smoking in clubs is having my hair and body smell like it.
Now, I saw I saw another comment, and I know we don't have time to do this, but someone made a comment about guys spraying their hair now, and you know, I guess what do you call that dye? But there is a name for it. Oh, that was George who I saw that.
Yeah,
what is that name for spraying your hair? What do they call it? Oh my God! Oh,
television.
No, because
I have no clue.
It's dye, and you line it up on your face, and you can go to the barber shop to get it. Oh my God!
It's very popular in Philadelphia. You see a lot of men in Philadelphia.
I was about to say my brother did it. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to out him in case people think that's his hair.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have another show on dyeing your hair, and we might have to have a dyeologist on here. I just made that up. A dyeologist on here so that he or she can give us their, you know, professional opinion on people dyeing their hair. And for some reason, I cannot think of the name of that what they call that process for people dyeing their. That's it, Keith. It's called a Beijing. That's it. It's called a Beijing.
I never knew that.
A Beijing. I knew. Yes,
give it to us.
Yeah, yes, it is, because it has been left on many pillowcases. Yes, it's called a Beijing. Yes,
pillowcase.
It's called a Beijing.
Well, okay. I want to thank everybody for all your comments. We always love the what y'all said segment because it feels like we're really in the same room with you. So thanks for tuning in and being a part of what y'all said.
Okay. So I'm gonna give y'all just like 10 seconds before we do it, but we need to hear, who do you think has made the most impact? And I can tell you, somebody's already said it, but who do you think has made the most impact with their hair in their career? And I mean, when I say impact, I mean just like changed and have shaped the world with their hair. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all 2 seconds. Okay. Because
should we go over what people have been saying?
Yes.
Yeah, go over what people have been saying.
So we have Grace Jones. Who said Grace Jones? That's a good one. I think Sean said Grace Jones. Scott and Annette have said Prince. We have someone said that. Who said Ron Isley?
Patti LaBelle.
Benjamin said that Ron Isley changed the beard game, and he's absolutely right. Bobby also said that Oprah. He listed Don King, Patti LaBelle, and Grace Jones.
Yes, Patty.
Yes, Patty. Yeah.
Spiky.
Patty is definitely up there, and she's still changing her wigs. She is
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis.
And Michael Jackson is on this list.
I like Michael Jackson, but Viola Davis, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Well, drum roll, ladies and gentlemen.
Joy Reid has also been changing the game with her hair.
She has.
The game
Indeed.
in a big way.
Joy, somebody said Don King.
Yes.
Question mark.
Okay, right. Oh, Alma said Viola Davis hair.
Yes, it was her.
Okay. Well, we have selected that individual, and somebody has said it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Black Excellence. And he said, salutes the one and only. I'm not even going to tell you. We just going to give you a reel. So here it is.
Hair Maverick.
Yeah. Oh.
That part.
Yes.
Purple Rain. I did the cherry moon.
Oh. Freeze curls. Whoa.
Yes, that part.
Whoa.
But Farina.
Yes, Dad. Wow. Dad.
Okay, come on. Prince. Legendary. And that one. Yes.
The category is
Prince. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Wait a minute. So some of you, Scott Lucius said Prince and Michael Jackson, and I know there were a couple of you who said Prince.
Yep.
And who else could it be? Who else could it be? Thank you, Annette. Thank you. Who was that? Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Scott. You all got it right. And hopefully, in the next 20 years, we can give you all a car. Okay, if we play this game again, we can give y'all a car. I promise you, okay? Because you all have been so good. You have stayed on. Thank you for joining us on a Friday night. I'm not signing off yet, but it really does warm our hearts for you to be on here for a whole hour and take this journey with us every week. It really means a lot. So please take a moment, tell a friend, invite them over, tell them to come over and have another drink. Just bring them over on a Friday night and sit with Jacques, Vash, Alvin, and Saladin Deir. Come on over. Thank you, James Tate. Yeah, come on over. But this show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we could have gone a whole bunch of different places about hair care for men, because hair care for men has taken off, and it is a way that in a way that allows men to express themselves like never, ever before. And I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving every hair piece. I'm loving every weave. I'm loving every extension. I'm loving every piece of it, ladies and gentlemen. So please, again, thank you. And tell a friend about our show. But our show on the evolution of Black men's hair, we hope that you appreciated and took something away. I hope you did. Yeah, I hope you do.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, I hope that we get to see your photos of your favorite hairstyles. If you go to our Facebook page, you can find the question of the week, post your pictures there, or you can post it in this thread. I don't care. I will find it. I will comment on it, and I will love it, because I do love a good hair experience.
We all love a good, not a good hair experience.
A good hair experience. Why have a life when you can have a lifestyle? Why be a person when you can be a personality? Why have just hair when you can have a hair experience?
yes.
You know, Vash, and I'm telling y'all, he just came up with that right there in his room where he's sitting. Okay, see, that's when you know you got the best of the best of the best hanging out with you. But ladies and gentlemen, before we sign off tonight, I wanted to also give a special thank you to DJ Deck Sound for helping to create our reel for Prince, for our presentation on Prince, and a special thanks to Vash for putting the reel together. Thank you very much. We try to bring you something different every week. And judging from how you guys have been responding, we really do appreciate that you appreciate what we are doing and what we're bringing to you. So next week, for May 28th, wow, that is Memorial Day weekend. We're going to dive back into managing your health series, our managing your health series, and we've invited Dr. Donita Holmes back. And she's going to talk about post-pandemic trauma, because now people are taking their masks off and they're being told that they can do this, that, and the other. But for the last year, you've been told that you can't do that. And not everybody is running into, I'm free like you think. Not everybody's doing that. And so we thought that it might be a great idea to have somebody, and it's going to be an open discussion about what people are experiencing and what we're calling post-pandemic trauma. So next week, please tune in. I'm sure the conversation is going to be pretty interesting, because people are sending their kids back to school, people are going back to work, and it's traumatic after not being there for a year. So come on with us and talk about it. And Vash, can you tell them about our new I mean, we have a new YouTube page. We have so much stuff that you've created. I can't even keep up with you right now. So
You're hilarious.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
our social media, we are he said live. He said live on Instagram, on Facebook. Twitter's going to be coming, and we are also on YouTube. So we'll be posting not only clips, but soon we'll be streaming directly to our YouTube page, and there will be special content available just for YouTube, because we want to make sure that you follow us, like us, subscribe to us everywhere we are, and we want to try to titillate you and tantalize you in every possible way that we can.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Well, we're about to sign off, but I'm going to leave you with the words of the week, ladies and gentlemen, and they come from Coretta Scott King, the wife of the late Dr. Martin Luther King. And her words are, hate is too great a burden to bear. It injures the hater more than it injures the hated. All right? So take that with you this week and tell someone that you love them. And thank you again for sticking with us this entire hour on He Said, He Said, He Said. We really do appreciate it. And we hope that you guys will join us next week when we come back and bring you our Managing Your Help series. How about that? How about that? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of He Said, we're going to say good night. You guys have a great weekend. All right. See y'all later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.